Okay, so I'm gonna go through a few of these comments on this video. This dude claims that he saw people fainting, so that automatically means God and Jesus is real. Let's just go through the comments really quick. This person saw his aunt was fainted, she fainted or whatever. I thought I was in a twilight zone, I was mind blown. I remember going up in prayer lines, wondered why I never fainted and went crazy like everyone else. I wondered why I never reacted like everyone else, but later I realized that I was just different because it's all, yeah. Okay, let's move on. I remember those days growing up, apostolic, Pentecostal, and having preachers shaking my head side to side forcefully to push me down. There was this attitude that if you didn't faint or pass out or shout or fall down, that you really hadn't felt the Holy Spirit or God wasn't moving in you. And there's lots of these comments. Here's one. Before I left for religion, they used to scare me. I remember going to church. There's a form of hypnosis that goes on in these types of church services with these large crowds, and the music is a part of that. There's a mind control going on. I remember going to see Benny Hinn with my granny at 8 at Long Beach. He took his white cloth and fanned it towards the rows of people. Everyone in the entire room from the front to the back fell out. When it was my row turned, I fell out along with everyone else, not because I truly felt anything. I was just doing what I saw. I laid there for a while peeking to see when it was time to get up. In my defense, I was a child acting, but a few years later, when I would think about that event, I'd trip off how the adults were laid out acting like me. I always felt odd in church. I questioned everything that didn't make common sense to me. When I went to a church, their tradition was the preacher blessing people by laying hands on them, and everybody would pass out. Well, he got to her, she didn't, so they tried to make her. I fainted when me and my cousins used to play church when we were younger. I was a young teenager, found out what this was fake. The preacher had a prayer line. I went up for prayer, people falling out fainting. So by the time it was my turn, I felt the preacher's man put his foot behind my foot while praying for me. He was also pushing my head back really hard, leaving me no choice but to fall down. I had on high heels and did not want to fall like that, so I grabbed his robe but with both hands held on as hard as I could. Honestly speaking, guys, I felt him laughing to the point of his body shaking from laughing. I was holding on with my eyes closed and scared at the same time. The faithful missionaries had surrounded and circled me, perhaps to block the saints from seeing this commotion. He whispered in my ear that it was okay to let go now, and the mothers or missionaries walked me to the nearest seat to help me sit down like some special miracle had taken place. I was just scared, did not want to fall. I was conscious before I knew what the full dynamics of the word meant. All I knew was that I was always different and really never filled in with that crowd. I grew up in the church and actually experienced fading. What it feels like is your spirit reaching a higher level. You don't really feel your body or have much control of your body. I think it's a lot of emotion worked up because people are usually hollering, crying, and being prayed for right before the pastor puts their hands on you and you pass out. If Jesus were real, why in the world would he make you faint anyway? File that under questions religious people can't answer. Furthermore, reasons for fainting are the chemical and biological, and the act of fainting happens most frequently outside of religious experiences, so how can the correlation between the two be made? I fainted too at a Catholic mass while serving. I simply was staying way too long and hadn't eaten anything for breakfast. Christianity is true because I fainted is an irrational argument. I passed out one winter standing up while riding a hot passenger train on an empty stomach. The things that have an effect, if you believe in them, are clear self-suggestions. Outside of the realm of religions and con artistry, of course, imagine if this power were real. The front lines of any battle would have a pastor slain with the spirit, the enemy forces. I have also noticed something about church, the dominantly black ones to be specific. I remember attending an all-black church down in Fort Lauderdale with my family and step-family, but something about it seemed to mirror African spirituality in a way. When the pastor would scream and shout in tongues while music would be playing in the background, churchgoers would start dancing like crazy, crying, screaming, and claiming that they feel the Holy Spirit. I've watched videos about Africans performing voodoo ceremonies, and the way the Africans would dance looked very similar to the way these churchgoers dance, and acted as if the Holy Spirit possessing their bodies. To me, it mirrors Kundalini rituals. I cannot believe I used to be involved in this type of psychosis. Makes me wonder what spirit energy really had a hold on me. Actually, it's just a collective energy phenomenon and placebo effect. Being in the presence of a number of sentient beings, humans, charging the atmosphere on their own, all those in that environment will be affected. The body responds by crying, flailing, so on and so forth. Groaning, kneeling, bowing down, and even ticking and passing out is also psychological hypnosis, whether self-initiated or diluted, or whether the speaker guides the listener's thinking and emotions. While all these are innate responses to various levels of shared energy, frequency, and vibration, they are not signs of being touched by the Creator. The energy that charges such an atmosphere is exclusively generated by human emotions. Their activity is conjuring various energies and allowing them to vampire their life force. That's why these spirits require worship to feed off. We can become conduits and transfer or swap our energies. Simply go to a sporting event, document how being there, engaging in all of the pomp and circumstances make you feel. Document your emotions. Then go to church, engage in riled up musical melee. In the end, their lives are no better off. Okay, let's move on. I know that when people fall out, they are feeling the Holy Spirit sometimes. Not all preachers use the Holy Spirit, but some have Kundalini spirits they use. Buddhist priests can make people fall too, but the difference is that the Holy Spirit heals without side effects. Maybe. Let's keep reading on. That was a thought group. Hours? Like a coma? Wow. I mean, church would end at 1 or 2 and she's still down there. The pastor would take me and my sisters home and give us dinner. I think an usher or someone stayed with her until she awoke. I was 10 or younger then. I always thought that was odd. That is odd. All people have a life force energy that exists within us. When harnessed correctly, this life force energy has the ability to heal and even make someone fall and pass out with overwhelming feelings of euphoria. It is the energy that is used in Reiki healing and other forms of ancient healing. It has nothing to do with Jesus or Christianity, but it is real. I also agree that it can be due to environment and other influences of the body. Right. That's probably the most accurate comment. I'm a Christian myself, but I understand some churches do a lot of acting and use church for what church should be used for. Darren Brown, gotta look him up. Will cause vasodilator to activate the vagal nerve, causing vasodilator to decrease heart rate, and blood pressure, causing less blood perfusion to the brain, subsequently causing loss of consciousness or syncope. You're doing a great job. I'm proud of you. People faint at a Bembe festival? I don't know what that is. This guy pinpoints individuals that are babes in Christ or just don't know what they're speaking of to make himself, his colleagues, and fan base look better. Block certain Christian scholars. Okay, well, that's not really. They were highly dehydrated. Wow. It's all energy that's linked to a belief system. They just don't know the real purpose of it. Yeah, that's true. All the fake falling looks like fun. People used to faint at Michael Jackson concerts. Yep. Why would an all-powerful God reduce himself to magical tricks? Seems to me this is a sin, using magic. Self-hypnosis. Convincing yourself you feel the Holy Spirit. Soldiers faint when their knees are locked. I had stories because brother was in the Navy. So this is a pretty long video. I mean, are you a scientist? Maybe they got overheated. There's 30 replies. I won't even. So that's about it. Just wanted to let you see some comments. Until next time.